not provide jobs for our citizens by my project going forward? Because these people here don't want to be inconvenienced for 1.7 seconds at the traffic light? In fact, let's figure out what that is. Ready? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I couldn't even get to 2 Mississippi because the 1.7 seconds is up. So now, when he comes to complain when I'm done about the traffic, I've already neutered him. He looks selfish. Okay? But I had to work with my traffic engineer to understand that, to dummy it down, and then put it for my thing. So you need, going back to that list of the 40 people, you're the conductor. Don't just hire them and let them do their thing. And the worst thing, this is the problem I have. My traffic engineer starts to give an opinion on compatibility of the site plan. Or my environmental consultant starts playing traffic engineer. No, I hire you to do A, not A, B, and C. Stick with the program. And before you, just like Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff, you practice all week long. Before you go to a public meeting, you better practice with what has to be done.
Do you always mute them, though? Like, if they're stepping to another
well, the
territory?
thing is, I know moving up to the public meeting, it's going to be an issue. I know he's going to complain because he's already sent emails to everyone about the traffic. So I don't go in completely blind, but I try. Look, I can't say the following. He's an idiot. He's selfish. Okay? All he cares about himself. I make the inference that's what it is, and how you have to balance it. That's what elected officials have to do. Are we really going to say no to a project? Not say it meets the conditional use standards?
No, I'm speaking on you, like, managing the contractors. So,
Oh, you have
like,
to. You have to keep them on script. Because everyone wants to act like they know everything.
Is there ever a time when you do have that open ear to them, even though they're stepping into another boundary?
No, no, because I hire the best there are,
Right.
and they stay in their lane. You know? Page 17. Remember I said the triple bottom line? They got 3 circles that are interconnected. There's a social, an environmental, and an economy. And where they meet in the middle, that little triangle, that's the sweet spot. That's what we're trying to do. Your takeaway today is, how do we get balance? You can't go in and only focus on the economy circle, no matter what the land use code says. You have to start being part of a community builder. That's what good developers do. And good developers, George Perez, yeah, he wants to make a boatload of money project at a time, but he's here for the long haul. He's here part of a community. Terry Stiles, who's now, I believe, passed away, but was one of the founders of the thing here. He's not just throw up one building, the hell with you. He's building a community. Your reputation is everything. I mean, look at Michael Jackson. I remember, I grew up with the kid, right? I'm never going to forget the time he held his son out the window. In this world, you do one stupid thing, and that's what they, remember you of. Don't do the stupid thing. The 99 things you do right, they'll forget. Reputation is everything in a community. So you can skim through this. This is the stuff that people care about. But what I want to do, I want to skip over now to page 82. And we're going to start getting to this next week and more the week after. If I was to give you a in-class exam, fill in the blank, like this was back in high school or college, which I'm not, I would make you memorize pages 82 and the top part of 83. But by the time we get through this class, And as you get through your project, which I'll talk about, okay? And as you do your final exam, each of the bullets on pages 82 or 83 is a great checklist of what planners want. So let me run through a couple of these. The first bullet: encourage new development in higher elevation, less vulnerable areas like uptown. So what they're really saying in here is climate change. But notice the word encourage. They didn't say prohibit. Now, one thing you can do is the following. Look, planning staff, all I do is have the land that I have. It is what it is. God only made it so tall. But what we're willing to do, if you support our project, we're willing to elevate the site a little bit higher. That's more money, more infrastructure. See, this is the problem. Engineers design for the 100-year storm event, which in theory means once every 100 years, you're going to get hit like that. The problem is, statistically, the 100-year storm event happens every 20 years now. So that doesn't have a good standard. So you might say, we have designed our property to withstand the 500-year storm event. It's cost us 17% more, but we think that's how good sustainability can take place. And we've done it, and we tied into your infrastructure, it's all good. That's how you take the problem of climate change, and then you deal with it. Next one uses the word resilience. New York City got hit hard by Hurricane Sandy. Well, we're not going to stop developing in New York, but when we get down by the water, maybe put up a higher seawall, maybe do things. This is the toughest. Number 3, consider transfer development rights from coastal properties to less vulnerable areas. If you own land on the ocean in Fort Lauderdale, you want to put your condo there. People want to see the ocean, they don't want to see the downtown. So that sounds good, but let me tell you what's important about the next bullet. Where possible, direct development to transit corridors. The initials TOD, transit-oriented development. If you want to build 25-story tower, forget about the FAA for a moment with planes. You want to build 25-story towers in Fort Lauderdale? Downtown by the Tri-Rail Bright Line is where they should be demanded 25-story towers. Because if you put the density there, you don't need a car in theory. Up by Cypress Creek, when the train station gets off by the buildings, 25-story towers. Government and developers can work together with this plan by putting the density in the right spot. So if you are a good developer, you understand urban planning about the interrelationship between transportation corridors and density. Sticking a whole bunch of density 3 miles away from the nearest transit thing is not good planning. Go down some more, they talk about multimodal development. We want to create communities where people can walk, bike, sun trolley, Uber, car, and the list goes on and on and on. Second to last from the bottom on page 82. Improve the connectivity of bike lanes, sidewalks, and transit. You need to understand the word connectivity. It's important to planners. You want things connected to each other. Okay. Look at the top of page 83. Allow live work units. You know, restaurants, art, architect studios on the lower level. People live above that. They don't need a car then. But look at 83, the fourth caret or arrow down. And let's assume all you want is a C in this class. So this is for the gentleman in the back who wants to see. Ready? When in doubt, promote compact mixed-use development. Promote compact mixed-use development. You trying to continue urban sprawl, building out away from where the jobs are, where the transportation corridor is not a good thing. You want to be a successful developer in Fort Lauderdale? Infill development by Fat City, by the Sistrunk corridor, over by Hemishi. Bring it in where you create a walkable thing, okay? Where people can live, work, play in an 18-hour cycle. Okay? Go down a couple of more. They talk about shared parking policies. That reduces the amount of surface parking. Picture this. You work 9 to 5, you park your car. You leave. There's a restaurant next to where you work. Someone else can come from 6 to 9, park in that same spot, have dinner. That old person goes home, the early bird specials are over. There's also a nightclub there. Now your generation gets to park in the same spot. So I don't need 3 different spots. I can have the one spot for 3 things. This is the hardest. Page 83, forget about the housing element, but the third arrow up from the bottom. The word neighborhood compatibility. You know what that means? Does planning staff like you? Does planning staff like your project? Are you a good guy and gal or not? Have you tried to at least address these things? And if you have, the staff report's going to say, gee, the applicant's project is compatible with the neighborhood and should be approved. But if you don't even bother to address these things and say, I don't need to. My professor said 3 things. Market study, pro forma, land use regulation. I'm oozing money. The market wants me to be here. I have as a right. I want you to approve my project. Well, gee, just like I said, read the code. Fort Lauderdale has that thing called neighborhood compatibility in their code. And if you didn't hire a good local land use lawyer and you thought you can do this yourself, because you got your college buddy on Dixie Highway playing lawyer, who says, oh, B1, it's allowed, you can do it. Tell them to go to hell, you can do it. Well, gee, staff comes back on another section of the code, we don't think you're compatible. Therefore, you don't get a positive staff recommendation. Then you go to the Planning and Zoning Board, they don't give a positive recommendation. Now you're at the elected officials swimming upstream. Why do you want to go get your project approved before the elected officials with 2 strikes against you? You don't. So what do you have to do to get a positive staff report? First thing. Okay? Second thing, what do you have to do to get the neighbors on board? Third thing, what do you have to do to get a positive recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board? Because I don't know about you, if I'm going before the elected officials, they don't have a political backbone. They don't want to carry the water for you. They don't want to support your project if they're going to get voted out of office. You want to make your job easy. You want to say, Mayor, I've worked with your staff. What a brilliant staff they are. Your citizens, they're focused on this. We've come together. We've done the kumbaya. And the citizens that serve as your advisory people on the Planning and Zoning Board, they put me to the test, and I met the challenge. Everyone supports this project. I'm here tonight, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, asking for your support. We should be out of here real soon because we've done the heavy lifting to get to you. Not, oh my God, 250 people signed up to speak against the project. You're not getting approved that night when 250 people have red shirts with a big arrow through your project. Okay? Yes?
Will you run through the 3 one more time?
It starts with staff. It starts with the bureaucrats. They are the keeper of the gate. They're the ones who go home at night and they read this stuff. They're the ones who are out protecting the Bambis and the Bambiettes. Now, sometimes the politics is such you can quote-unquote piss on staff. I don't like that approach. That's the fallback position. I want staff on my side. It's very simple. Cut 6 inches of string. You have a choice. You cut it, it's here. I want to get it here. 2 choices. I can push the string, and it's going to go anywhere. Or I can pull the string, much easier. I want staff on my side. I want the neighbors on my side the best I can. Not the same 10 people wacko crazies. You know how you have Thanksgiving dinner? You know how you have to invite your crazy uncle because it's Thanksgiving, but you wish you did it because he's an embarrassment? Well, those same 10 crazy uncles are the ones that come to the public meeting speaking against everything. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about the rest of the community that vote and are reasonable. I need them on my side the best I can. Before you get to the elected officials, there's usually a planning and zoning board or a planning and zoning commission vote that has to happen. I want their recommendation. I want to make my job easy for the elected officials. They don't want to have to divide their community. Okay. So this is the flavor of what's not going to go away. Okay? Now let's talk about your final project and we'll talk about your final exam. Let's talk about how to get a C or B minus first. No, there's no shame in the game. That's all you can do. It's time allocation. Because you might say, you know what? I wish I could get an A in every class here, but then I may not be able to keep my current job. That has worse consequences. I'll do what I have to do. If you want a C or B minus, you have to do the following. Pick any project that was already through the system, that either got approved or didn't get approved. And when the syllabus says you're going to have 9 minutes to come up here, I think I'm going to keep it for the second to last class only. I think I'm going to put it down to 4 or maybe 3.5, and it's going to rock and roll. You come up here, you say, my project is located at the corner of Maple and Elm Street. This is the comp plan. This was the zoning. This is what they wanted to do. I got the staff report. It got approved. And it seemed to be a very plain vanilla thing. And it got through the system. And you report in the who, what, why, when, where. That's just doing some due diligence like I need you to do for this case study. That's fine, that's where we want to stop. Because we can all learn from the process. Now, to move to the next level would be the following. Yeah, I got the comp plan, I got the zoning map, I got the staff report. That thing crashed and burned. It was like the Galleria handout that I gave you. They tried to put those condos there. It didn't work. I don't know what those land use lawyers, developers were thinking. They were pretty stupid. What I would have done, can I have the second textbook right behind you? Just hold it up, right there, the green one.
The green one?
Yeah. Based on the second textbook, I would have worked with the community earlier on. I would have reached out more. And I would have used the framework in the second textbook to get to yes. Because what I would have done, I would have used some really good smart growth principles that used infill development, that were compatible with the neighborhood and the whole list. So I took a negative where they tried to just ram it through, and using that second textbook, which we'll get to, and using smart growth principles, I would have done A, B, and C, and I think it would have been a better chance to get done. Okay, do you see the difference? One's just reporting the facts, it's fine. One's trying to incorporate the second textbook to go forward. And that will definitely get you into this range and start peaking at a little bit better. And the difference between this and this is, have you just gone through the motions? I'm going to make this page number up, so don't write it down. Oh no, can I have the book for a moment? I'll make it real. Yeah, I'll make it real easy for you. Page 44. Page 44 is probably one of the most important pages in this book. No. This is the green book, the second book. The first book, can I see the first book? The red. You see the red? The word zoning? Yeah, turn around. No, not you, I'm sorry. You see the book? The word zoning? That's the first book. That's next week. This book here, page 44, is kind of like the summary of everything. If you did enough to get the C, B minus, and said, but I would have done this and just stapled this on, well, that's good. At least you've taken a framework of trying to lay a roadmap out. The difference between the B, B plus to really knocking it out of the park is you do the due diligence of a project. You apply a theory of getting to yes, because that's the goal, to get to 3 votes. You talk with your neighbors, you work with your neighbors, you use good smart growth principles, and you're truly creative. You actually not just cut and paste, you actually digest this stuff and say, I get it. This isn't really that complicated. But I need to take planning principles, I need to be respectful of the community, and with that, I could probably turn a negative into a positive. Remember I told you last week? I think I told you. When I started my BHMR project, the neighbors said, we're going to fight you every tooth and nail along the way, you're not going to get anything done. 4 or 5 years later working with them, I got a 27-story tower approved, and now we're best friends. So how do you, to get the A for the project, go beyond just, I looked at the zoning map, I looked at the comp plan, I looked at the book, I read the smart growth, I put the little choo-choo train next to the house that's transit-oriented development, that's really good. That's great. But can you really digest it? Does everyone get the distinction?
Yeah.
And look, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna hold anything against you. This is all time allocation. None of us really want to be here either 4 or 8 hours on a Saturday, but we're doing this because you're trying to get something out. So that's the final project. I'll talk to you about that again, but start thinking. I think the best thing to do is try to find something that didn't quite make it. Okay? Or at least didn't make it the first time, and you can talk about how they seem to have gotten it better the second time. Okay, let me give you your final exam. So when you leave here today, there's 8 sessions. This is session 2. I've spoken about your final project. I've given you your final exam. That's really what you need to do. And we'll have some time. And now, the final, we don't meet the last class. I'm giving you time to work on your exam, the last class, and then you'll email it to me. But I'm giving you your final exam now for one reason: time allocation. Some of you have 2 classes, some of you have other things. I'm not going to hold it, to the very end. You can get to this whenever. I don't think you can sit home this week and do A quality work, because I think we have to still teach you some things and digest this stuff. But at least you can start knowing what's expected of you.
What is the due date for final?
Class 7, whatever that is on the syllabus. What's that? The final project is your PowerPoint presentation that's due class 7. Yes?
The project that we picked, does it need to be, you said South Florida, right?
You can pick anywhere you want.
Oh.
I'm trying to make it easy for you because I just said that. But the fact that everything, you could do a project in Vancouver, British Columbia, and get access to their public records. Most things are online. Okay, let's talk about questions 6 and 7, and then I'll let you go. Starbucks, question 6. Starbucks wants to build a drive-through store on Federal Highway US 1 in Boca Raton, like the current store at the southeast corner of US 1 Hillsborough and Deerfield Beach. Find a location that works and outline the steps it will take to get it approved by the city of Boca Raton and to start construction thereafter. So, very similar to the Mercedes-Benz. I've given you a prototypical site to look at. All of you with Google Earth should be able to find Hillsborough Boulevard, US 1. You should be able to scale the size of that. This is what I want. So this is the situation. Sometimes you own dirt and you're looking for a use. This is not that. This is where you have a use in mind and now you're trying to find a place to place the dirt. So with what you want to build, go find a place in Boca Raton on US 1 that allows this. Now, I think I said before, the most important thing is to read definitions. I haven't read the zoning code of Boca Raton in this regard, but I can tell you, most cities make a distinction between a restaurant with drive-through and a restaurant without drive-through. And if you see a list that says B1 restaurants allowed, oh good, I can put it there, and you don't go to page 3 or 4 and you don't read, you may not know that in subsection 4 it says, notwithstanding anything else set forth in here, there shall be no drive-through facilities allowed within 300 feet of residential. That's why you got to read. So that's question 6. Because quite frankly, you're going to leave here, and you may not work necessarily for a real estate developer or REE. You might work for Starbucks or McDonald's or Best Buy or whatever in their real estate division. And their goal is to put as many whatever their boxes are around the globe, and it's got to deal with this. So that's taking a use and finding a piece of property for it. You see the distinction? Question 7 is the opposite. I'm giving you a piece of property, and now I'm trying to have you find a use for it. Does everyone understand the difference between 6 and 7? You have to make sure you understand that. 6 is, this is what I want you to put someplace. Go find that someplace. 7 is, this is my land, these 4 corners of my land, now what do you want to put there? It's the complete opposite. But those are the 2 things that you'll be doing in your career.
Yeah, you have a purpose, find a lot.
Yeah.
Now you have a lot, find a purpose.
Exactly. You knew I had to pick on Winn-Dixie. I actually almost bought this property 10, 12 years ago. Real estate development is all about making money, period. In general, 3 things need to come together to make money in real estate. 1, your market study. 2, your pro forma. 3, your land use investigation project approvals. This class is about the 3rd one. Based on the concepts that we covered in class and the assigned read-ins, what would you do to make as much money as possible if you worked for a large regional real estate developer that is considering acquiring the existing Winn-Dixie Shopping Center at Woolbright and Federal in Boynton Beach? Assume any redevelopment plan. That means ding, 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 ding. if all you do is say, oh, I would buy the property and paint it a new color so it looks pretty and increase the rents a little. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a surgical change of getting rents a little higher and cleaning up the parking lot. That's what your operation class might do. This is a major, bring the chainsaw. This is a redevelopment, okay? Assume any redevelopment plan will be met with opposition from the neighbors. So how would you work with them to, quote, get to yes and get your 3 votes? Your answer should be in both text and graphic format. Now let me tell you what I'm going to hate to do, but I'm going to do it to you anyway, and it's your own fault. You might do great on questions 1 through 5. Wow, they get it. You should be able to get those. Question 6, wow, I'm good. There's 3 parts to question 7. If you don't give me a graphic format as well, there's no way I can give you an A on your final exam. Draw a site plan, okay? You got to give me words to describe what you're doing, and you have to learn how to draw. Now let me tell you something. If you lived in West Boca Raton, like I raised my families, my kids, they had academies there in high school where you could do the medical academy, which my daughter did. She became a first responder. Or you could have done architects, CAD. So there's people who've been doing CAD since the 10th, 11th grade. And if they were taking this class, they would say, great, I'm going to take Google Earth, I'm going to lay out the 4 corners of the property, I'm going to drop it into the CAD system, I'm then going to do SketchUp, and I'm going to do a 3-dimensional model of the beautiful thing that I'm going to do. That's great if you can do that. There's the rest of you that still live at home with mom and dad, and your young sister has the crayons. Steal your sister's crayons, get a piece of tissue paper, go to Google Earth, print the property, lay the tissue paper on top of it, and draw what you need to do. You look confused. You need to show me a site plan. I'm giving you a piece of property, okay? You're going to do something different with it. It's going to look different than what it does today. And if you do Google Earth this property, I'm going to assume it's, let's say it's 25 acres. Maybe it's 20, I don't know. There's an L-shaped commercial facility. I don't know if the Winn-Dixie's closed or not yet. It should be. There's an out parcel. There's a restaurant in the back. That's the property. I want something different because I want more money. And if it's going to be something different, it's going to be more intense. So what you need to do, if you truly have the time, get in your car, drive to the property, drive a mile or 2 north, a mile or 2 south, see what they've already accepted. If you just don't have the time, then go to Google Earth or Google Maps. You know how you can hit the 3D thing? And you can now get a perspective. And you can say, wow, it looks like 1950s, 60s, 70s construction everywhere, but if I go 2 or 3 blocks, 4 blocks, a mile north, it looks like there's some brand new high-rise apartments. And if you hit the 3D, you can actually count the floors. Wow, it looks like this community might be willing to accept some heightened density. But if you look south, you can realize that they haven't really done anything there. Oh, maybe that's where the bad neighbors are, they don't want anything. My point of it is, if you're going to do real estate development as part of your career, and if you're going to stay in South Florida, everything you do is going to be a redevelopment component, because there's no more land left. So you need to get comfortable on knocking things down and redoing them. And that's what developers do. They buy outdated shopping centers that have the Publix and the Eckerd's drugs. Maybe none of you know what Eckerd's drugs were, but that's how we built Florida. Publix, Eckerd's drugs, bank, and then the dry cleaner and other shopping strip stores in the middle, 40 acres of parking. That was Florida. and a Denny's somewhere nearby. Okay? And now, we don't have Eckerd's anymore, and we have too many CVS's, too many Walgreens, so we don't need them all. So they all have to get redeveloped. But the land's valuable today. So this is what people do. So your last class is the Saturday before it's due on this Monday. I'm giving you that entire day to do it. You don't need to come here. I'm giving you that Sunday. And I'm giving you that Monday to go to your office, do what you need to do, and get it sent to me in a PDF format. So you might have 6, 7 pages of words and one map, scan it into one PDF and send it to me. There's no reason you can't do well on this. But my point is this. Item 6 and item 7 is what I think you're going to do in your career in one format or another. As this gentleman said, it's a use looking for a home, or it's a home looking for a use. Those are really the only two things we do. And the whole point of going through this is, even though I'm trying to tell you it's your pro forma that should be your North Star on how much money to make, the government has a different agenda. You need to know that agenda. Okay? We're going to leave 14 minutes early, Fred. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a specific name for like those type of?
Okay, this part.